Hi friends, Chandrasekhar here again. We have already gone through the entire 12 bhavas, followed by the 9 rashis, and then one part of grahas which sometimes creates a confusion in the mind of Jataka, that is the Vakri Graha, the retrograde planet. So I shall now talk about rashis and what is their significance, and as usual a different perspective of how to look at them. So we start with the first Rashi in the Rashi Chakra, which begins from Ashwini, the first degree of Ashwini, or you can say it's 0 degree of Ashwini, and is spread over Ashwini, Bharani and the first quarter of Kritika. Okay. So now we have to understand another part, rather my affinity towards Navamsha and the reason behind it, because as you can see, every nakshatra has 4 padas, 4 quarters, and in Navamsha you get 9 quarters of the nakshatras, total 9 quarters, so it is Navamsha. So each of the quarter or each of the Navamsha rather is equal to 1 quarter of a nakshatra. So to my mind, being an engineer, this is a finer parameter. Instead of entire 13 degrees 20 minutes deciding what will happen if a planet is within a span of 13-20 minutes, which is the spread of a nakshatra, we look at what happens to a planet when it is in the 3 degrees 20 minutes part of a Rashi, which represents nakshatra. So when somebody is talking about nakshatra giving strength or we giving more importance to Navamsha, you will understand why I prefer Navamsha rather than nakshatra, though there is a system of looking at nakshatra and divining things from that is more followed perhaps in Nadis, also of course by other astrologers. And as I always said, whatever works in delivering the right prediction or guiding the person who has come to you, he is anyway distressed, out of his misery by suggesting the correct actions, the karma that he should do to overcome the problems. I have no issues with it. So we are talking about Mesha, the first Rashi. That is why one of its name is Aja, one who is not born. Aja also means ram or a goat. You have to, those of you who are familiar with the mythological stories would have heard about Daksha Prajapati's head being cut by Veerabhadra, and Lord Shiva, after he begged pardon of Lord Shiva for not inviting him, he put the head of a goat on the body of Aja. So Aja is one who is not born, and so rather one who is the first, because every child is father of some other child, but here this is the first, so he is also called Aja. He is also called Vishwa. That is from where the beginning of zodiac occurs, so it is called Vishwa. It is called Kriya, perhaps to do with Kriya, action, and also Adya, the first one. These are the names, and generally known as Mesh. Mesh means ram, not goat, as it is basically ram. Mesh also means something which is woolen. So you can understand the difference between a goat and a ram, and this is ram, the woolly one, and he is rather Aries is the Mula Trikona Rashi of Mars. Mars rules over Mesh, and we will find that Mars is the commander-in-chief of the army, so he has to have actions. This is the Mula Trikona Rashi, the basic nature of Mars, the fighter. Then we see that his color, the Rashi is said to be of blood red color. Naturally, fights and blood, we don't have to explain more. Some say, most of the people think that it has large body, but some other acharyas talk of compact body. I agree with that more, because Mesha, the ram, has a compact body. I mean, those of you who have seen animals in their natural habitat would understand that. He is said to be strong in the night. Aries is said to rise by the hind part of it. There are Rashis who are said to come up with the head and some with the hind part. And of course, Pisces is said to rise with both the parts. Ubhayodaya they call it, rising from both the parts. And that has some other significance, and we will not go into depth of it. Then this is a male Rashi. Odd Rashi, all odd Rashis are male Rashis. All male Rashis are a bit cruel. You can say active, you can say cruel. I would go perhaps with harsh instead of cruel. And then it is a four-legged Rashi, which is very easily understood because it represents Ram. Ram is its sign. It is a Rajas Rashi. He wants something. Rajasa Tattva is always indicating of having desires to get something. Then it is said to roam in forest. Jataka Parijata says that he dwells in places where metals are there. Mars is connected with metals. Kaunta Ayudha is one of the attributes of Mars, and this is the Mool Trikona Rashi. And all the Ayudha means weapons. So all the weapons are made out of metals, and that is why it is also, I mean, Jatak Parijata says he dwells in places of metals, and its Tattva is Agni Tattva. So it is a fiery Rashi. Now, having said that, this is the standard description which everybody has, and I am sure all of you astrologers know it, but this is just to give the entire idea, and now we look at it from other perspective. You know, I look at things from a slightly different perspective, and I try to find out the reason behind it. You go to his metal is copper, and though of course he is good with, he is friend with, I mean, everything else you know, but that is metal is primarily related to Mars rather than Aries itself, by itself. So, what we are looking at, why name it as Mesha? Rigvedas has Rashis, but they have only names of 10 Rashis. Other Rashis they have described in different manner. Those who are interested can read Rigveda, and maybe those names have something to do with the nature of those constellations or the group of constellations which consists of a Rashi. You will find that people, connect those stars and try to create an image like a ram, but you will see that at the horns there are no stars. So that is our idea. We think that they looked at them as rams, or it appeared to be that group of nakshatra appeared to the sages as ram. My own contention is our ancestors were extremely good breeders of animals, even human beings, that sometimes we will talk about if you want me to, but let this be over and then we will talk about it. That is a different thing, and that is my perspective of how to look at things. But you have to understand that none of the Rashis actually, if you connect all the stars in those constellations, you will not find the figure which is described beautifully, we connect all those dots and they leave something blank and create a figure out of it, and they say this is Vrushchik or this is Meena or whatever. So what it is, why did they name it as Aries, is something I think an astrologer should think. I mean, the sages did never talk anything in vain. So what it is and why? Mars has two signs. One is Aries, another is Scorpio. The Scorpio sign, being even sign, is a female sign. So is there any difference? Is there any difference in the way Mars, the fighter, expresses through these two Rashis? You can take Rashis to be, it is nowadays called environ, or I would say the nature of the place, and so you can, from Rashi you can find out what is happening there. That is why the tattvas are given, the body is given. Some are of the opinion that most of the descriptions are to be used to find out who is the thief and all those things. You can find out so many things if we apply them properly while analyzing a chart. So those who have seen a ram, you will see one thing. This is a Chara Rashi. This is a Rashi which is mobile. This moves all the while. Now those who have seen a ram in action, or you will find it is rarely at rest. It is always jumping from one height to another, from that to the third one. And yeah, it is a forest dweller, but it likes to jump around here and there. That is the nature of a ram. And the additional thing that you can see, the peculiarity of ram is, he will go and attack anything, let whatever be the size of that adversary, because he would look at everybody as an adversary. He loves fighting. He is the Mool Trikona Rashi of the Commander-in-Chief in the planetary cabinet. Now are we coming somewhere near? Perhaps we are. The ram has a compact body. He has a powerful head. He likes to butt with his head. I think there was, those of you who are on WhatsApp or whatever, there are so many videos going around about a ram literally fighting with a bull and making him run away. And rams are known to have even butted their head against locomotives. They don't bother even if their head has become bloody, or even if they die, but they will not back out. Now this is the ram. This is what is the basic tendency of Aries. When you find this will be more prominent instead of in Rashi, this will be more prominent in the Lagna, because that is the entire personality of the person. Rashi will make a difference because that is the mana, the mind, likes to fight, likes to be always active, likes to do something or other, and likes to show that he is more powerful than others. This is a general nature. This has to be taken into the right perspective. Don't feel if somebody has Aries Lagna that he is always fighting. No, other planets, which aspects. So the Rashis have a particular, we can say, way of behavior, place where they are, but these things are influenced and modified by aspects or presence of the planets and also the Lord of those Rashis. So this has to be understood, but you will find that people with Aries Lagna will be extremely active, no doubt about it. They would love to act. They will act, and they would also love to fight. I say they can fight at the drop of the hat, to describe it very easily, and that is Aries for you. If Aries is in the 10th house, it is quite possible that that person's place of work or career could be connected with something which has to do with either metal or machines or even forest or hills or hillocks. That is where the ram also always wants to go, and he always is standing at the top of a small hillock. Even if you go in the any place where they are bred, you will find the ram, not the sheep, the ram. Let us be very clear. This is a male Rashi. The ram will always try to be at the top of something. Now this is a habit of wanting to dominate everybody else, and that is what Aries is about. That doesn't mean it is a bad Rashi. That means it has lot of energy. This energy needs to be expended in action, playing, doing something. If you don't do that, then what happens is it wants to fight. Whether somebody is an adversary or not, you will see rams running after somebody, giving him a sort of a dash with its head, and that is how it will always do. See, it is at the head of the zodiac, it starts from there. That head is very powerful. It will hit against anything. It starts from Ashwini. Ketu is the lord of Ashwini, isn't it? And Ketu sometimes bursts into action suddenly, which is one of the things which is very common with Ram. So I think we need to look deeper into this and then analyze the Rashi and then find out what can happen, how that person is likely to behave, and what we should tell him. Suppose somebody with Aries wants to fight with everybody as a Lagna or the Moon Rashi, I mean Moon is there, so his mind wants to fight with everybody, then we can tell him that you better expend your energy in either sports or some activity whenever you feel like fighting, get involved in something. 90% of the time go fight it will not extinguish. Nothing is totally eliminated. And that has to be understood. Even in remedies, what happens is modification takes place, which makes it easier to face life, overcome the difficulties, another thing. So my dear friends, I hope this small description is enough to understand the Rashi, its use. If it is in the fourth house, maybe the house has some connection with forest, or it has forest nearby or some metal work nearby, and that is how we should understand the Rashi. As I said, planets will modify these effects to a great extent, because Rashis are fixed and planets are moving, so they can modify things. Rashis are static, planets are dynamic, let us put it that way. And so my friends, I come to the end of this small lecture, you can call it, on Aries, the first of the Rashi. Next we will go to Taurus, and we will go through all the 12 Rashis and find out what are the small differences between them. See, those small differences many a times make you fix the Lagna. Lagna is very important. I mean, I know people talking about the D60 and D144 and whatever D150 need to fix it. I would be happy if I can fix Lagna, because that is the basic reference point from which we see everything. That is where the Bhava application is most important. And I think Shukranadi tells that unless Lagna is fixed, an astrologer should not go ahead. And being a Char Rashi, you will always feel, they will never be at rest. You observe a Jataka coming to you, and if he is not able to sit steady, then you can be more or less sure that his Lagna must be a Chara Lagna. Also, being Rashi of Mars and the Mool Trikona Rashi of Mars, remember Mars has Dampa as part of it, so they will have some marks somewhere on them. Many times they will carry some tika like that if they are Hindus, or they would be wearing some rings which are pretty prominent, or dress in a very particular manner so that you know, or wear an expensive watch and turn it like this. So that is a general pattern. Not all will be there. If Guru aspects it, then there would be a great change in that. But still, those traces of Damba, wanting to show off, will always come through. The desire to fight will always come through. If they don't fight with hands, they will fight with speech. So they will be generally more argumentative once the argument starts. Otherwise you would not realize. Look at a ram, he is sometimes very stationary and suddenly he starts jumping. So remember, when you look at Mesh, think of ram, how he would behave, and you will more or less understand what happens in the bhava that is occupied by Mars, and rather more than Mars, by Aries Rashi. So Aries in say 5th house will give desire to learn very many different subjects, and also again to win over them, to know them fully. So this is how Rashis are to be used. And now I will come to the end of the lecture. As usual, let me know if I have been able to add value to what you already know. I am sure that all of those who are looking at the lectures are astrologers themselves. They could be students, they could be great astrologers, they could be very knowledgeable people, but they would be astrologers. And to me, everybody is a student. I am now 72, started learning when I was 6 or 8, and I still am a student. I think I have only understood hardly 10% of what is the Hora part of astrology. Astrology has 3 parts, you know, the Ganita or Siddhant, the Sanhita and the Hora. And so, my dear friends, I'll see you again in the next lecture, which will be on Taurus. We will see that most of the Rashis are denominated by names of animals, and there is something there which is important. Try to understand it, know more about animal kingdom, and many a times you can read what is not written in the text and understand what sort of Rashi this can be. So thank you very much. Let your comments come so that I know where I can improve, and thank you very much for listening to my lectures. I see that number of views are growing, the subscribers are growing. That is wonderful. Thank you, my friends.